Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations, has you covered. From our studios to our newsroom at K.L.P Entertainment. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
As an educator, Mr. Nelson's teachings are still being quoted in school.
Everyone can rise above their circumstances if they are dedicated and passionate.
Today, Nelson Mandela's teachings continue to inspire. Inspiration. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Live from our newsrooms brings back our hit news network, SNN, with many news anchors like Arthur Brooks, Addison Hayden, and Beatrix Gemma. Brings you stories about the news worldwide. Tune in on Atlanta's #1 stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations. To get the latest news today, listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 85% water, right?
85% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thing.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Yo, 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 you know what time it is. It's time to set this place on fire. Welcome to Atlanta's hottest hip-hop radio show, where we keep it real, keep it raw, and keep those beats banging all morning long. Here at K.L.P Entertainment. Live from our radio stations of Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio station. ATL's very own K.L.P, Kennedy Lucas. And this is K.L.P in the morning.
Good morning, Atlanta. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting podcast here today. This is K.L.P in the morning. I'm your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. Welcome back to the studio. Welcome back to the show. Feels good to be back here. If you guys didn't know or didn't listen to Monday's episode, Monday morning's podcast, Monday morning's radio show, we had a good show. We really did. We had a good show that day. Over an hour. And we had some great topics of conversations, and we had Axel and Addison doing their thing as well. So they're back here in the studio, by the way. Axel's the new voice talent. He's going to be doing some voice talent for us as well when it comes down to sports news as well. Sometimes we just got to give Tyrus, he's our producer. We got to give him a little break sometimes. You know, he can't cover everything when he's out there producing and helping us getting our content out there for the YouTubes and the Facebooks and all your major audio platforms, wherever you get your audio platform from, wherever you get your podcast from. So we're back here. Good morning. It is Wednesday officially. We're getting ready for December 1st. December 1st is this Friday. I'm excited because, you know, that is a new month for us. You know, it's the last month of 2023. Christmas is around the corner. And of course, I mentioned this on Monday's episode, but I'll say it again, that of course, K.L.P Entertainment and myself, we are finalists for the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. We're in the category of Emerging Entrepreneurs Award over at the Small Business Awards. Cannot wait to go to the award ceremony. I'm stoic. I'm very, very excited. did this registered somebody else yesterday, and that somebody else is a special lady of mine. It's my mom. She's going to be there as well, so it's going to be really, really fun. Cannot wait to I just can't wait. I can't wait to be there, network, meet people, and hopefully win the award. So yes, I am a finalist for the Emerging Entrepreneurs Award. I'm a finalist there. So honestly, being a finalist is a good achievement, but knock on wood here, I pray I don't lose it. I pray I get it. So that's what Friday's coming up for sure. We've got a lot of great things this weekend. And of course, we've got ESPN on Monday and just business meetings next week. So I'm excited. I'm stoic for that. But as of today, it is Wednesday, still November. We're ready for it. It's gotten cold too, guys. It's getting real cold. I was at the house last night and I forgot to set my heater on. And I woke up chilly because I really forgot. My heater was not on. I was blowing cool air. It wasn't freezing cold air they blew, but it blew cool air. And I honestly forgot to set my heat on. So I woke up chilly, very, very cold. So I had to turn that on real quick because it was too cold. Because it's getting warmer. It's getting warmer out here in Atlanta. It's getting cooler. So I do say to a lot of people, make sure that you have your heater on because it's just too cold to be rocking up with it. And I had to make sure that I take some medicine. The reason why that being because shout out to the Atlanta Run Club. I ended up going and running the Atlanta Run Club on Monday. And it was great because a lot of people still came out to it, but it was still cold. Like I was freezing. I wore one of my one-piece jumpsuits and I was still cold. And it was hard for me to run because of the cold air, but I pushed through it because, of course, it was a health thing for me and I ended up doing it really, really well. So my whole point of this, make sure you guys bundle up because it is getting rather cooler nowadays. Winter is finally here, it feels like, and it's going to be a cold winter. Guys, it's going to be a very, very cold winter. So I do have to say for that, make sure you guys bundle up for sure. Now we have topics of conversation here today. Like I say, please go check out the latest podcast of ours. It's K.L.P. in the morning. Of course, You Lift, Bro. I went in that podcast. And then, of course, we've got SNN Primetime News. That was yesterday. That was fun in the studio, giving you guys that primetime news there. And we're back again today for another exciting podcast. Now, I got to talk about it. I got to talk about T.I. I do. In a good way. Can't wait for his show on the 29th. He has a very special show celebrating his 25 years of the rap. And of course, we did score VIP. So we're going to be VIP and doing our thing there on that night. So that's going to be a very fun night. Can't really say too much about it, but I'll talk about it on a future podcast after the event. So I'm excited for that. But T.I., I gotta talk about your boy. I got to talk about your son. I have to. Right? So this story and this news and everything's been popping off as of late because we all know that Atlanta, right here in Atlanta, was the hottest thing going this past weekend. Now, if you guys don't know, Atlanta had the Falcons game versus the Saints. We came off on top. We beat the Saints, right? And evidently, the Saints is one of our bigger rivalries that we have when it comes to our Falcons. It's the Saints. That's our route, our hardcore rival. So King Harris, that is T.I.'s son, posted this on Instagram. And I say to a lot of people that you have to be careful what you post on social media. If it's embarrassing somebody, then people look at you a little funny. Right? Now, he posted this video and it's been viral and obviously everybody's talking about it. And now, of course, I'm talking about it. I got to say, first off, Mr. King Harris, if you're somehow listening to our show, I don't think he's from the streets. I don't believe that. I don't buy into you are a son of a multimedia millionaire, rapper, artist, actor, producer, director, executive. You're up because of who your father is. Right? Now, when T.I. says that he was repping the streets in Atlanta to get to where he was. I believe it, right? Because he might have had to be in the streets to, and I don't know T.I.'s personal business, but he might have been in the streets doing his business, trying to get some music going, right? We all know from our generation, little bit older generation, you listen to your rappers now that they sing in their songs, they've been slinging dope, and they've been in the streets doing this just to make this label happen, make this music thing going. I believe it. I believe the trials and tribulations that T.I. had to go through when it comes down to him being very, very successful. After all of that, now starting in hit movies like Takers, hit movies like ATL. I could still quote my whole family can quote a lot from the movie ATL. And guys, if you're from Atlanta, you haven't seen the movie ATL, shame on you. You need to go see ATL. Tip T.I., I'm a film director, so if you want to make ATL 2, let's make it. I'm just kidding. I joke because he don't know who I am, but I think there should be an ATL 2. I really do. But anyway, besides the point, I understand T.I.'s trials and tribulations of how he go. King Harris says, I ain't never had no silver spoon in my mouth. King Harris, to me, because I don't know if he's making music, right? I think the only T.I. kid that I know, and I can't say that she's a kid, young woman that makes music, is Symphonique. Symphonique makes music. She's part of the OMG girls, I want to say, right? So she's making music. I haven't heard anything from King Harris musically. I haven't seen him star or act in anything that I know of. You're in one of the press boxes in Mercedes-Benz. If you're an executive, that's $30,000 suite. You're repping the Falcons. So you are getting pictures with the Falcons. Your dad is performing at Mercedes-Benz along with Big Boy and Ludacris and all the rest of them, and Jermaine Dupri that was there at the halftime show at the Falcons halftime and pre-show. Young man, you can't say that you've been in them streets. That's what a lot of people are getting from him, that, hey, King Harris, young King Harris, T.I.'s son, been in the streets. But you're in a $30,000 suite. I don't think you've been slinging dope and you've been in the streets, bro. A lot of people find that hard to believe. I feel like if King Harris was in the streets, and I say this very loosely because honestly, I'm saying for myself too, if I was in the streets and I thank God I'm not, if I was in the streets, I'd probably get my ass beat because I'm just too soft. I am not made from streets. I'm not. I'm glad I'm not. King Harris, I don't think he's made for the streets, and I don't think he ever been in them streets. Young blood like him probably get his ass kicked. Right? I get in my rants with this because my take on this, he posted the way he posted. I think it is a little bit embarrassing when it comes down to him and the family. I really do. I think that T.I. and Tiny probably hit the streets to get to where they are today, but they're highly successful. You're not going to see them in the streets. You're not going to see them doing anything bad. As of late, you're never going to see it. And T.I.'s been doing some dope stuff, right? In Atlanta, he just opened a new community for affordable housing. Now, granted, I know why he did that, because, hey, tax write-off is a good way to go, but he's doing something for a good cause, right? Right? He's doing all the good things and keeping his nose clean. And it's a good way to do. Keep your nose clean in business, right? So my take on this, yes, it is a bit embarrassing. It just doesn't make sense. I think part of that too, maybe it's trauma, right? We all have trauma. I have trauma too, guys. I really do. Trauma happens within the family, within your parents. Trauma does happen. And a lot of people are expressing, and I'll express it here this morning. I honestly do think King Harris is going through something something happened to him that causes him to have trauma, causing him to embarrass the family and say things that doesn't really make sense on social media. Right? That's what I think, because honestly, King Harris, if he was to get cut off by T.I. and Tiny, what would he be? Right? I'm sure maybe, and this is, hey, I don't know T.I. and the family hustle. I don't know them personally, but maybe T.I. put up money for all of his kids. He put the money up. Maybe in a trust fund, maybe in investments, whatever, for the college fund if they decide, or they putting money up for whatever dream that they have. Hey, I have it, but it's in a trust fund. So when you get a certain age, you can access that trust fund. I don't know how T.I. is wired that. I don't know. But I think there's a trauma thing there. Because if T.I. cut King Harris off, what would King Harris be? Maybe if he follow in his father's footsteps and start rapping, then maybe you can get your mark there. Hey, like I mentioned, Symphony, she sings. And she's an amazing singer, by the way. Really good singer, by the way. But there's some trauma there. I think if I was King Harris, I wouldn't air out my dirty laundry out there. Trust me, if I was in a $30,000 suite and I'm hanging out with Freddie Falcon and the Falcons, hey, I made it. In my opinion, right? I think it should be therapy. It should be therapy. I think he needs to go. This is what I think, guys. Hey, he does what he does, but hey, there's something there. You need to go to therapy about it, or you need to at least talk to somebody about it, because you're going through something. Right? Because you're not gonna preserve that behavior just for the hell of it. You're just not. So it's very, very interesting for the Harris family. I just hope that this young man does find some help. I whatever help that looks like, I don't know. But finding a way to talk about the problem that he might be having, because he might be going through something. Might be going through a lot. And we don't know. Now, speaking of somebody that's going through a lot in a good way, and I say this, and I'm proud to say this too. Music has been very, very good this month. We did get a new Chris Brown. We've got new Busta Rhymes. We're getting a lot of things in November. Now we're flipping the page to December. And a little bit tidbit about me, guys, that you may not know, but I dabble heavily in my gospel music. I really do. I love gospel music. I love working out to gospel music. I love driving to gospel music. I really do love gospel music. And I want to say this because I got to give this guy his props, because he is freaking amazing. Now, I say this with soul hopefulness and faithfulness because I really like his brand, the millions, billions, trillions brand that he has. He's getting a lot of notoriety. He's getting a lot of people looking at him. And of course, we look at him as fans, but a lot of celebrities also look at him as fans as well. And I do encourage people to not only dabble in gospel music, if that's your thing. Gospel music is my thing. And I tell you, this last couple months, I've been listening heavily to gospel music, and I've been praying. And the reason why I've been praying and listening to gospel music, because, you know, K.L.P Entertainment is ever growing. We're getting newer equipment by the grace of God. I'm over here in Atlanta with a new studio. I'm over here also working for Georgia State, right? I'm over here in Atlanta doing ESPN stuff. So God has been great to me this year, right? He's been magnificent to me this year. Right. And honestly, I'm 27 and I'm not slinging dope. I'm not in jail. I'm not in prison, and I'm not dead. So I thank God each and every day. I really do. And I pray for him. And then I dabble also in my gospel music, because gospel music got me through some hard times. They did. So my very first gospel album, mine is Marvin Sapp. Because I listened to Marvin Sapp's album when I was a kid, right? Obviously, my dad and mom played him a lot. But my full indulgence in gospel music, the full album that I just loved the entirety of the album, was Mr. Travis Malloy's Faith Journey. Travis Malloy moved to Atlanta, and he's been killing the game ever since then. His voice is just that good to where he can go far, right? Faith Journey is a good album. I like the way he sings. I like the way he pours his whole soul into his projects. I really do. And I also do like it when Travis Malloy step away from gospel for a second to make an R&B album, right? I love his R&B bag. I really do. My 90s Heart, oh my God. Like, you can't tell me that man can't sing and he dabbles in R&B, right? He, honestly, I gotta say this, and I'm sorry because I'm a Tank fan too, but I think he's up there. I think he might be a little bit more up than Tank in the R&B. I gotta say it because, well, then I don't know, because they might be neck and neck. I don't know, because I love Tank way too much too. So, right, so Travis Malloy this Friday has another album coming out called The Manifestation. I freaking love that name because that has been my mom's quote this year, with her being very successful at what she's got going on right now. She's manifesting a lot of things, and a lot of things are coming true for her. Same thing with my sisters, both of them. Same thing with my brothers, both of them. We are all manifesting new ideas, new businesses, new jobs, new things for this year as we turn the page for 2024. Right? So I cannot wait until this new gospel-like album from Travis Malloy. It's called The Manifestation. It comes out Friday. I know a lot of people already pre-ordered. I will listen to it directly on Friday throughout the weekend. So of course next week when we come back for the radio show, I can give you my full review. I can't give you a review I haven't listened to yet, but that's one gospel, and there I can name millions of other gospel singers that I listen to right now. We don't have the bandwidth, we don't have the time, right? But Travis Malloy, that's the guy I recommend first in gospel music alone. I'm going to recommend Travis Malloy first. I told my mom about Travis Malloy. She did not know who he was. I say, yeah, Mom, listen to Travis Malloy. Listen to Faith Journey. Listen to it. Right? And then if you want something in R&B, go back and listen to my 90s Heart. Right? It's not just his writing and how the way his melodies are. It's his soul that's into these projects, and I can't wait. And I'm really rooting for him for all the best success because I think he deserves it. I like all of the features that all his singers that are in his previous albums, and it's going to be in this album, right? So I'm stoked. Comes out Friday. It's going to be fantastic. I'm ready for it. I'm here for it, Travis Malloy. I'm here for it. So I'm a fan. So before we get to sports news, because this is relating to sports news, and Axel, I see you. Axel's our new talent. He's going to talk about more in sports news, but I wanted to tackle the first part in sports news. I mentioned it on Monday, but I was waiting into this episode because we just had so much to talk about this past Monday. So WWE has been doing really, really well. I did see Survivor Series. Cool concept, I really do. But I wanted to talk about CM Punk. It's so good to see CM Punk back into it. I watch Raw, and if you guys don't know, I am a wrestling fan. I am. It's good to see CM Punk back into the light of WWE. He did mention in his monologue that he's home. It's good. It's really, really good. Of course, we all know why he can't. Hey, money talks. They do. Money talks, and then Vince McMahon is not really in charge anymore. So I get why he came back. Because really CM Punk's feud not really was with Triple H. Triple H was just doing what he's told back then, right? When Triple H really wasn't the showrunner. Now, Triple H, he's the big boss. Let's be honest. Like, he's going to be CEO of WWE, like, eventually, right? So, because Triple H is doing some incredible creative stuff that it's just, we're going back to the roots, and a lot of people are going back to WWE and actually going back to the industry, going back to that company, going back to their product and actually enjoying the product. I enjoyed Survivor Series, right? I like it when pay-per-views are good. I really do. I'm hoping that Royal Rumble is good in January, right? WrestleMania is a big thing, right? So in WrestleMania, speaking of WrestleMania, real quick, T and Axel, like, and Addison, I think WrestleMania is going to be big if the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl. and they're looking pretty good right now. So if the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl, that's it. Just imagine Super Bowl in February, and if they win Super Bowl, WWE can market the hell out of that because WrestleMania will be in Philadelphia this coming year. Money. But anyway, it's good to see CM Punk back into it. But Triple H, he's the ringleader of WWE now, and I think that was kind of where the feud kind of like, okay, let's be real, like. And then they did a picture together and say, hey, hell has frozen over, right? That's the whole shtick there. You know, I think this is going to be good for CM Punk. I think competitively, he's one of the great competitors that I've seen in my lifespan of him being in WWE and in AEW. So I can't wait to see what he does next with WWE. I just hope that they don't, as my emails come in, I just hope that they don't waste him. Right, because there's been a lot of returns that come back and they waste them, and then it's like, well, damn, like you've been wasted. Like I feel like John Cena, when John Cena came back, guys, John Cena came back, and I feel like they wasted him. And then now that the strike is over, he's like, oh, well, fuck WWE, I'm going back to doing what I was doing. This is just a cash grab for me, right? And CM Punk made it to where, hey, at the end of his monologue, he said, hey, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money, and I get it. Money talks. Money does talk. But I do see him doing a lot. He did do a salute to his wife, AJ Lee. Do I think AJ Lee could come back to WWE? She could. She really could if she wanted to. Do I think that she wants to? I don't know. I think it would be cool. I think it would be a cool spin on it. I really think it will be very interesting to have AJ Lee come in and, you know, educate our newer talent of how she wasn't. She has to do a lot of training though, because it has been same thing with CM Punk too. CM Punk hasn't been in WWE for over 10 years, right? He hasn't. He's been out. And with AEW, yeah, you saw him doing this thing with AEW, but obviously that's different from WWE. They got a lot of guidelines. They've got a lot of procedures. WWE might have a little bit more money in the pot for promotions. So it's a different ball game, but he's familiar with that ball game. So like I say, I hope that they don't waste him. I hope that he continues on, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Axel is here to give us the rest of our sports news. Take it away, Axel.
You are listening to Atlanta's Radio.
The 14 college football playoff is going out with the most crowded field of contenders and the most consequential championship weekend in the 10-year history of the system. 8 teams have at least a glimmer of hope to make the field. Yes, that means you, too, Ohio State. The penultimate CFP rankings were released Tuesday. Georgia remained number 1. Michigan moved up a spot to second after beating Ohio State. Unbeaten Washington was third, followed by unbeaten Florida State. The field for the playoff will be announced Sunday. Determining which teams are CFP contenders heading into championship weekend is a bit subjective. More often than not, a Power 5 team with only one loss going into the conference title games, regardless of whether that team is playing, has to be considered alive. No team with 2 losses has ever made the CFP, but at least a couple of times a team with 2 losses had to be considered in contention when it played for a conference title. Auburn in 2017 is the most obvious example. That season was one of the few where championship weekend had multiple games matching CFP contenders. More commonly, championship weekend hasn't been about teams playing their way into the field as much as watching for whether teams might play their way out. Last season, when Southern California lost a Pac-12 championship game on Friday night, the field was practically set before Saturday's games kicked off. Georgia and Michigan won their conferences to stay perfect and lock down the top 2 seeds, but would have gotten in regardless. TCU lost a Big 12 title game and got in. Ohio State slipped in the back door without playing. Alabama coach Nick Saban politicked for the Tide to get in with 2 losses, but there was no real drama heading into Selection Sunday. This year, every conference championship has at least one CFP contender. the Pac-12 and the SEC each have 2. Two-time defending champion Georgia might be able to lose to Alabama and make the field, as it did on the way to the national title in 2021, but that is far from a guarantee. There are multiple scenarios that could play out this weekend and leave the 13-member CFP selection committee facing almost impossible choices Saturday night.
Thanks, also, for that sports news as well. Before we kick it off to Addison here this morning, I wanted to do my movie list that I want to give out to the fan base. Now, I know we're a tad bit early to give this list out, but over the Thanksgiving break, this was the couple of movies that I've been watching and I really recommend. So I'm going to recommend 4 good Christmas movies to watch. If you haven't seen these movies yet, because these are great Christmas movies. And actually, I'm lying. I'm gonna give you guys 5, right? So the first movie I recommend to a lot of people this week, maybe, and I'm gonna watch more Christmas movies, and I'll make my recommendations. But the first Christmas is This Christmas. Now, This Christmas came out in 2010, 2011. I don't remember the year, but I do remember the movie. Of course, it's starring Loretta Devine, Idris Elba, Sharon Lill, Chris Brown, Regina King, and those are really the main people that. Oh, and Delroy, blanking out on his last name, but he plays Joe Black in this movie. The character Joe Black. So yeah, it's a good movie, classic movie. Everybody have seen this movie. Anybody who's seen this movie? It's good. It's really, really good. It's, the family's getting ready for this Christmas, and Loretta Devine's character doesn't want baby Chris Brown, Michael Whitfield, to endeavor in music because of her late husband that just left to pursue a music dream. And then Loretta Devine's character's oldest son, Quentin Q, he's played by Idris Elba, dabbles in music, and of course he's in trouble with some Goonies, and now he comes home to find safety, but then realizing about the Christmas time spirit as well. So it's good. It's a good movie. All-star cast is really, really good. The next one I recommend, this one is kind of more funny, a funnier one. This one is called Almost Christmas. Now, Almost Christmas is starring Kimberly Elise, Danny Glover, Danny Glover. Gabrielle Union is in this one. Who else is in this one? I forgot the guy that plays in Survivor's Remorse. I forgot his name. But he's in it. The main character that's in it. Let's see who else. Monique is in this one as well. Oh, and JB Smoove. Oh, and Carrie Hilson. Carrie Hilson's in this one too. Carrie Hilson, she was so fine in this movie. I love Carrie Hilson, and she's from Atlanta, so that one's really good. Of course, this one is about Danny Glover's character. His wife dies 1 year ago from the Christmas time. So fast forward Christmas a year later, there's family conflict between Kimberly Elise and Gabrielle Union's characters because one is very successful and got it through, but then the one is struggling to finish law school. And then Kimberly Elise's character's husband is Lonnie. He's played by JB Smoove. He's kind of like, an old school all-star basketball player that played back in 1993, but he's still trying to live his glory days, but cheats on Kimberly Elise with Carrie Hilson. That's where Carrie Hilson comes in. And then DC Young Fly is in this. This is the family friend that flirts with Monique. Monique is the auntie of the family. She's funny. She's been traveling all over the world. She's funny as hell in this movie too. So good movie, funny Christmas movie if you want to dabble onto that. The next one that I've watched was A Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol, Jim Carrey. We all know about the Christmas Carol, Jim Carrey. That one's really good. I like it for the style and the acting. It's really, really good. And the final one that I can think of right now is The Polar Express. Again, it's The Polar Express. Tom Hanks is in The Polar Express. Good movie, good animation movie. Really good time for the Christmas spirit. So those are the 4 movies I recommend to a lot of people right now if you're dabbling into Christmas and you're wanting a Christmas spirit. Now we got Addison here up in the studio giving us our world news. Addison, take it away, honey.
Some of y'all might know this, and some of y'all don't. Let's do it.
Hundreds of Americans of all ages streamed into Atlanta's Jimmy Carter Presidential Library to pay respects to Rosalind Carter, who laid in repose Monday evening. Many of those who came to bid the former First Lady a final farewell paused briefly in front of her wooden casket, which was covered in a spray of colorful flowers and guarded by 2 Georgia State Patrol members. The public repose was scheduled to last until 10 p.m. Earlier in the day, many other Georgians lined state roads when Rosalind Carter's motorcade made its way to Atlanta from her small hometown of Plains, in southwest Georgia. The public repose began after a brief ceremony during which the Carter family and staff members of the Carter Center and the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library and Museum paid their respects, one of several ceremonies planned through Wednesday to honor Rosalind Carter's life and legacy. She died peacefully in her Plains home on November 19th, at the age of 96, 2 days after the Carter Center announced she was entering hospice care at home. A tireless advocate of mental health reform and the destigmatization of mental illness, Rosalind Carter spent most of her life dedicated to humanitarian efforts, always at the side of her husband of more than 77 years, former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. In May, the Carter Center said Rosalind Carter had dementia. The couple had returned home to Plains, about 120 miles south of Atlanta, after leaving the White House in 1981 and had lived there since. Jimmy Carter, who is 99, began receiving home hospice care in February, after a series of hospital stays. People from across the state and across the country have made their way to Plains in the past week to celebrate Rosalind Carter's life and legacy as the town of several hundred prepared to say goodbye. She gave so much back to the community, to our world, Georgia resident Andy Huggins told CNN last week. I just felt the need to come through here one more time, just being in the presence here of her spirit. She was a beautiful person. The Carters' last public appearance was September 23, when they took a ride through the Plains Peanut Festival. Jimmy Carter is expected to attend his wife's memorial service in Atlanta on Tuesday, according to his grandson Jason Carter, University President Neil Weaver and CEO of the Rosalind Carter Institute for Caregivers, Jennifer Olson, placed the wreaths on opposite sides of the statue. The former First Lady founded the Rosalind Carter Institute for Caregivers on the school's campus in 1987, and the organization has since supported and advocated for tens of millions of Americans providing unpaid care for their loved ones, the school said. She leaves a legacy for us to strive to meet, Weaver said. He lauded the way that she engaged with people, saw humanity as a real positive, and wanted people to be successful, and wanted to invest in their lives. He said she was a regular at Georgia Southwestern State University before the COVID-19 pandemic, and that students had the chance to be right next to her working with her and getting to know her. Members of the Carter family traveling with the motorcade stepped off the bus briefly to shake hands with participants. We will always remember her incredible accomplishments and dedication to service, and will continue to build on her legacy of advocacy, the school said in a statement last week. We will never forget what she means to this university.
Thanks, Addison. Really appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up here on the K.L.P. in the Morning radio show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one as much as we did as well. Please stay tuned for K.L.P. Entertainment, our YouTube channel. If you are a subscriber, thank you so very much. Make sure you hit that bell notification so that way you don't miss when we upload next. We've got a lot of more content coming out this week. If you guys missed out on SNN Primetime or our last podcast, please go check them out. They're on demand. Take a listen. And to all the people that's listening to the shows on audio, whatever platform you get your podcast audio content from, we really appreciate it. I really appreciate y'all because, believe it or not, we have a lot of listeners on iHeart Radio. Shout out to y'all, one of our partners, because that I looked at our stats yesterday, and yeah, iHeart is our biggest one right now for the month. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. It helps our business. It helps our company. It helps all of our cast and crew members. It helps us all. So thank you so very much, and look forward to more content this week coming from K.L.P. Entertainment. So that's going to wrap it up here, Atlanta. Good morning. Please remember to stay safe, stay swanky, stay nice and bundled up because it is getting cold. And as I say, on behalf of my entire cast and crew, this has been K.L.P. in the Morning. I've been your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. For now, so long. Stay safe. Peace.